Have you ever wondered what happens when cruelty goes too far, when bullies don't just use words, but cross a line that changes everything? This is the story of a humble farm girl who endured unthinkable humiliation at the hands of arrogant young men. They believed she was weak, voiceless, and powerless. What they never expected was her husband. And when he found out, his answer wasn't justice. It was hellfire. Stay with me until the end, because this story will make you question what real strength is and who truly wins when a heart is tested. Hannah was a simple farm girl, born and raised on the dusty plains just outside a quiet rural town. She was known for her kindness, her tireless work ethic, and the soft smile she wore even through hardship. The farm was her pride. Every morning before dawn, she'd rise, feeding the chickens, milking the cows, tending the fields. Her hands were calloused from years of labor, but beneath that roughness was a heart filled with patience, humility, and forgiveness. But not everyone saw her worth. In town, a group of entitled young men, sons of wealthy landowners, saw her as nothing more than the farm girl. They mocked her worn clothes, her mud-stained boots, the scent of hay that lingered in her hair. To them, she was beneath notice. And like most bullies, their cruelty came not from strength, but from insecurity. One evening, after delivering eggs to the market, Hannah was walking home alone along the dirt road when a truck pulled up behind her. Inside were Ethan, Marcus, and Cole, the ringleaders of the cruelest bunch in town. They jumped out, laughing as their boots crunched the gravel surrounding her. "Look at you, little chicken girl," Marcus sneered. "Think you're better than us because you work hard? You're nothing, just dirt under our boots." Hannah tried to keep walking, clutching her basket, but Ethan grabbed it and smashed the eggs on the road. Yolks spilled into the dust. Her chest tightened, tears burning behind her eyes. "Please, just let me go," she whispered. But bullies don't listen. They dragged her into a nearby field. With rope from the truck, they tied her hands behind her back and bound her to an old wooden fence. Her hair tangled in splinters. Her dress was torn as they jeered and spat insults. Farm trash. Nobody. When they finally drove away, leaving her tied beneath the open sky, Hannah had never felt so small, so powerless, so forgotten. Hours passed before a neighbor spotted her and untied the ropes. She walked home trembling, wrists still raw, her spirit even more wounded. She told no one, not even her husband. At first, she believed that silence was strength, that if she stayed quiet, peace would return. But silence never heals wounds that deep. Her husband, Luke, was no ordinary man. A former Marine who had returned to the land after years of service, he lived with quiet strength and unwavering discipline. His hands were rough from farming, but his heart was soft, especially for Hannah. She was his anchor, his light, the one person who gave meaning to every scar war had left behind. One evening, Luke noticed Hannah staring silently into the fire, her eyes hollow. He saw the marks on her wrists. "Hannah," he said gently, kneeling beside her. "What happened?" Her lips trembled, and then the truth poured out. The taunts, the rope, the laughter, the shame. Every word hit him like a blow. Luke's jaw clenched. His fists tightened until his knuckles turned white. They had tied his wife to a fence. They had tried to break her. And they had no idea what they had just started. The next day, Luke drove into town. He didn't shout, didn't make threats. He was calm, controlled. But behind his eyes burned a storm. He found Ethan first, lounging with his friends outside the diner. They laughed, until Luke slammed Ethan against the wall so hard the laughter died in their throats. "You think tying up a woman makes you a man?" Luke's voice was low, steady, and dangerous. "You think humiliating a farm girl makes you strong? I've fought real men in places you've never even heard of. Let me tell you what strength is. It's protecting, not destroying. It's building, not breaking. And you are nothing." The others moved to help Ethan, but Luke's stare froze them in place. One by one, he made them face what they'd done, not just with fists, but with words that cut deeper than any blow. He exposed their cowardice, their shallow pride, their weakness. When one of them finally swung, Luke's training took over. In seconds, they were on the ground, helpless, broken not by pain, but by truth. By the end, there were no insults, no laughter, only silence and shame. When Luke returned home, Hannah was waiting on the porch. There was fear in her eyes, but also hope. He took her hands in his, kissed the scars on her wrists, and whispered, "They'll never touch you again. Not while I breathe." And he meant every word. From that day forward, the bullies never came near her again. The town whispered about Luke, the Marine who made the proudest sons of landowners bow their heads in disgrace. But Hannah's healing didn't come from their fear. It came from the quiet, steady love of a man who stood unshakably beside her. Because real strength doesn't live in fists or fury. It lives in love, in standing up for the ones you love, in protecting those who can't always protect themselves. Cruelty may try to break the gentle, but true love always rises stronger. Bullies may laugh for a moment, but kindness and courage last forever. And sometimes, justice doesn't come from a courtroom. Sometimes, it arrives in silence, with steady hands and a fire that never dies.